Hey, it's Rodney G. Scarred Not Silent. We're back together again for another episode. And have you ever done something that you thought was going to be the easy way? And really, it turned out to be the long way? Well, I have a recent case that's actually going to sort of lead into my next topic. So recently, I needed my mouse, and we came back from a house set, and my wife had used my mouse because her battery died, and she had it in her luggage. So I asked her, I said, "Oh, you have my mouse?" She says, "Yeah, it's in the luggage." Now it's not a big luggage, just a little hard shell carry-on, and she uses it when she goes places to basically store her office in there. So she's a little more mobile. I did not want to go and open up this little hard shell case, then put everything back in it and fight with stuff falling out. Well, I had made a assumption that it wasn't going to be that easy to get out of this hard shell case. So I go and I walk back into the room, and I'm like, I know I have another mouse. Go in my closet, and in my closet I have there's like a shelf, and then on top of that shelf I have this plastic organizer that really probably should come off of the shelf because it's so high I can't reach it without a step stool. I'm always at risk of hitting my head on the panel of the door, so up top. So if that happened, if I slammed it hard and being on Coumadin, oh gosh, Lord knows I'd probably be in the hospital because I have some type of swelling. I think I could navigate the situation without hitting my head on this. So I'm at the lower level, and I'm like, I think the mouse is at the lower level of this drawer. I think there's like 5 or 6 drawers to it. So I go and I pull it out, shuffling through everything, and I'm looking out, well, it's not in there. And so by this time, I'm putting my hands in every drawer, and I don't find it. And then the top drawer, which I can't pull any of the drawers out after the first one anyway. So I go, well, I think it's in this last drawer. So I have the step stool, and I'm shuffling it around, and then I don't have a light in the closet. So I have a light outside of the closet that shines a little bit inside. So I get this flashlight that we got from a neighbor before he moved out of the state, or actually he moved out of the country. He had it because he was scared of scorpions. So it's this this blue light. It's the black light, I guess it is. So it shines blue. It's not like a clear light. So I have this light. Hopefully I can see this mouse, and I'm moving things around, and I'm like, well, this mouse is not up here. So I decided to take the whole drawer out, look around, and then it's not in any of the compartments. And then I pull my old computer bag out to see if it's in there. It's not in there. So I go back to look in the drawers to make sure I didn't miss something. And then finally I remembered I had this little desk caddy that I used to use, and I go, I bet it's in this desk caddy. And sure enough, I found it. Actually, I'm telling the story is I had the mouse, but I was looking for the USB. That's what I was looking for. It was the USB to plug into the computer. So it's even smaller than the mouse. Pull this caddy out, and there it sits in there. So I was probably searching for this USB for like 45 minutes when I could have went, opened up this suitcase, and probably got it out within a couple of seconds. Thought to myself, how stupid that you were so lazy. I don't even know it was lazy. I had to be lazy to go and open up this suitcase, pull it out, and zipping the suitcase back up and be done when I went through all the rigors of pulling it out. It was just ridiculousness. And I found some other stuff I didn't know I had around still. So I guess it worked out. I could justify it by that. So just a silly decision for no reason than just being lazy, which kind of leads into the topic of when we got to California. I already explained the California. We had moved there. We got the Airbnbs, and I had to do all the shuffling around with the Airbnbs. So finally, let's talk about the actual employment section. And once I got to that University Heights, it was on the weekend that I got settled, I believe. And then Monday I started my first shift. And I'm so meticulous about planning my routes because I don't drive, so I know where I'm going. And I believe I even did kind of like a little dry run to make sure I knew what buses to take and what buses to transfer to. And I know when Marie when she was dropping me off in San Diego, we also did a drive around to see where the actual facility was at. So I'm so meticulous because I don't want to be late ever, but especially on the first day. So I arrived there. I caught the bus, had to get up early, got off of my dialysis machine, got prepared for my first day as the director of social work or social services. Walk into the building. I already knew where my office was going to be because I had already toured the facility several weeks prior. So I go in there, I get settled, and pretty much I'm just don't know what to expect because nobody was there at the time. I got in earlier than most people because most people started coming in later in the day, and not even my assistant was there. So finally, the day starts. People starts coming. I got a tour of the facility again to meet the department heads of the different departments. At that point, I could already sense that something felt off. Like some people were really warm and receptive, and others were standoffish. And I'm like, okay. And one thing I think I have a bunch of what I call superpowers, and especially from being neurodivergent, or now it's learning, well, back in the day it was called learning disability, but to having these disabilities, learning disabilities, always found ways to do things differently, which allowed me to be have a little more of a sense of what's going on, which are intuition. So I was always in tune with my intuition, and I learned to trust my intuition more than not, because my intuition is pretty spot on. And I felt something's different. Something's not right. And started working with my assistant throughout the day. I had to shout at her because she had been there for years as assistant for social services. So I shouted her throughout the week, so I knew what appointments to go to. I mark it on my calendar, access the forms. So just getting used to the system. At the end of the day, the administrator brought me in and she told me that my assistant would be leaving in a couple of weeks. Well, this was kind of a shocker to me because I had told him before I want to make sure I have an assistant in place. What I didn't tell him is why I was so insistent to have an assistant is because I was doing my dialysis. So I didn't make them aware of my dialysis because in theory, I thought, well, I'll have my assistant there. I'll be able to get acclimated and learn the system and things will be fine. My assistant was very distant and we really didn't talk. So it was like several weeks of just awkward working together. And come to find out is that she was already not happy because she didn't have the degree to advance within that organization. So she was not selected. And I guess she had applied, and I don't even know if she interviewed, but she applied. I know that much several times for this position, and she did not get it. In turn, so since she was there so many years, she had built a connection to some of the staff members who were also not happy because she didn't get the position, which made my role a whole lot harder. So once she finally left, she took most of the forms with her. I don't know if she developed the forms or if she was trying to sabotage me, or I have no idea. But most of the forms were gone, and I had to figure out how to get these forms or if she was able to send them to me because she stayed within the company. She just went to a different location. And even with that, I still didn't have a lot of the forms like for resources and who she contacted and the different providers to set up durable medical equipment, to do referrals. California has so many different laws than Arizona does, so they use group homes a lot if they can't find any placement for somebody. At the time in Arizona, you had a right to go back on the street if you came from the street for your medical care, because I worked at a rehab, basically a nursing home. So if you wanted to be homeless, you came in homeless, you could go back to the street. California, they wanted you to discharge to a group home. All those group homes, all the information I didn't have, so I had to call or figure a lot of it out, which led into long days, long nights, because I was the only employee for social services. This was a fairly large facility. I would say middle ground. I can't remember the exact amount of people that were there, but it was enough that it had me running all day and staying late and wondering what the hell I just did to myself. So it became difficult. And then on dialysis, so finally I had to go and let the administrator know that I have doctor's appointments that I needed to go to. And eventually I would have to let her know that I needed to leave, because sometimes I was staying till, I would say, like 11 o'clock. There was even times that I was there like at midnight and I still had to take the bus, or sometimes I would start to take the Ubers home, which saved a little more time than the bus, but it was more expensive than the bus. And then I would come in at my normal time, which I had to get off of the machine probably around, I would say 6 o'clock or so, and then get ready to catch the bus to be there by 8 o'clock. So yeah, it made for long days and long nights. And eventually when I had to go to my appointments, I had to let her know, well, I'm on dialysis, which seemed like it made her upset to know that I was on dialysis. And I wasn't missing any of my days, but I did have to take certain times to go and do like my regular appointments at DaVita. I didn't tell them purposely why I was on dialysis, because I knew if I disclosed that, odds of getting the job would be very, very slim. Despite, all the laws, and I understood that it would be slim to get that job. It never became an issue because I always had a plan, but it was challenging for myself, for my medical health, because I would get sick throughout the days and nobody knew I was sick. I'll go to the bathroom and go throw up because I wasn't getting my full dialysis, because I was stopping it before I completed my dialysis process, which means I had a higher level of toxins in my system. And I get nauseated a lot in the mornings. I would get nauseated anyway, and then it would go away, but without performing my full prescription, I would get nauseated and then later go in the bathroom and throw up. But nobody knew. Nobody would know, because that was my job. I took the job and I was going to fulfill the job. So with all of that said, I had started that position on September of 2016. My position was very short, and it wasn't because of my dialysis. However, I'm going to save that for our next episode. I try to keep them short. I don't think I'm ready for 2-hour episodes yet. But as we continue with the podcast, I think there will be some additional topics that might not even be kidney related. It will take a lot more time. So in the meantime, I just want you to reflect on that. Reflect on when you think you're going to something better and really it may be worse. It's always kind of like check your yard before you check your neighbor's yard. So really it was the long route, just like looking for my USB. I was chasing the money. I was chasing the position, and I got it. And in our next episode, we'll go ahead and talk about what happened later on, and then it just continues from there. This is Guard Not Silent. Thank you for being here. If you wake up, you have a purpose.